Welcome back to our farmhouse kitchen. It is summertime, which means that it's my favorite season of the year. June, I say every year, is my favorite month because everything in Missouri here is green and beautiful. Flowers are blooming everywhere. There's fresh ingredients in season. The kids spend tons of time outside, playing in the water, building little forts out in the woods. We end up staying up way too late every single night because it's so light outside. I find myself making ice cream several times a week, homemade popsicles, there's fireflies, the fireworks stands are starting to open. Everyone is super excited about that. There's been many nice evenings spent at the ballpark watching my boys play baseball. There's just so much to be happy about this time of year. Lately, I've been trying to put a lot more family-friendly recipes over on the blog. Dinners, everything's family-friendly, but what I mean is a lot more dinners that will give you ideas for what to cook for your family. So today I'm making several of those. I am making whole wheat tortillas. I threw some sourdough starter in there, so they're sourdough whole wheat tortillas. I am making refried beans, and then I'm going to put that all together and make some easy beef enchiladas, which is a newer recipe over on the blog. So for that recipe, I needed some broth. I cooked a couple of roasts. One actually I made in the Instant Pot because I was going to take this dinner today in a different direction, and then the other one I put in the oven. So anyways, from that, I have a whole bunch of drippings. So I just strained that off, put it all in a jar, and I'm going to use that for my beef broth today because it's very flavorful and it cooked beef, so that's perfect. I am making a homemade enchilada sauce with some tomato paste, lots of seasonings, and beef broth. I will leave links to all the recipes below. So there's the homemade refried beans, which will go in the enchiladas. Of course, you can just use canned beans on a busy night. I happen to have some dried beans, so I started this process actually a few days ago, just kind of had them going, had them in the fridge, so I'm going to use them for this. But you can throw this together a lot more quickly if you use ground beef, if you use canned refried beans, and of course if you use some store-bought tortillas. There are some good quality options that can really bail you out on a busy summer night. I am making mine from the blog. I have a whole wheat tortilla recipe. I used that recipe and just threw in some sourdough starter to kind of make it sourdough. Now you can let this long ferment or you can make it right away. I made it just after a few hours, so it had a little time to ferment the grains, but not a ton. It's very, very flexible. I love recipes that you can prep the certain parts of it at a different time in the week, whether you're early in the week meal prepper by putting some roast in the Instant Pot or low and slow in the oven and then stashing it in the fridge to use for meals throughout the week, or making up a bunch of tortillas at one time, or a bunch of enchilada sauce or refried beans, or keeping chicken broth or beef broth simmering on the stove ready to go. And then you can use those things for a lot of different meals all throughout the week. This week, I'm going to share with you a few more recipes. I also have something I want to sew for our bathroom. I've been looking forward to completing this project for a while. And then I'm going to talk with you about some design things. We're going to be doing a little bit outside. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do with our pathways, so the sidewalks. We want to put in a patio, and we're kind of throwing around a lot of different ideas, trying to decide what style we're going to go with. I also have some special art to hang, so a little bit more design in the living room. We are just taking everything here in this new farmhouse, one project at a time. I take great care to source quality food and cook from scratch as much as possible so that we're healthy, so we have the energy to do all of the things that we want to accomplish. Another place that I prioritize health is in our sleeping environment. And I want to say thank you to Birch Living for sponsoring today's video. Birch makes mattresses that are crafted with quality and organic materials, so they are free from polyurethane foams, free from fiberglass, which means that there won't be any of the off-gassing that can happen in the conventional manufacturing process of making mattresses. We spend a third of our lives in bed, so it makes sense to make sure that that environment is as safe and clean as possible. And that's why I trust Birch Living. I know that everything that is in their mattresses is supportive for our health. Now, we have several Birch mattresses throughout our home. In our room here, we have the king-sized Birch Luxe mattress. It is super comfortable and it was great when we upgraded to the king, especially after having our baby. We also have a few twin size of the well-loved Birch Natural mattress in a couple of the kids' rooms. Now, Birch pretty recently introduced their Birch Kids mattress. It's great because it is double-sided, so on one side it's a bit softer for older sleepers, but then it also has a firm side for when they're younger. I love that that mattress can be an investment that grows with your child, something that they can use for many years to come that supports healthy sleep. The materials in Birch mattresses support breathability and temperature regulation. Naturally hygroscopic wool and natural latex allow for increased airflow to keep you cool and comfortable. Whether you're a back, side, or combination sleeper, this mattress was designed so you'll get excellent comfort and support regardless of your preferred sleep position. I love my Birch mattress and I know that you will too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Birch. Right now they're offering Farmhouse On Boom viewers 20% off your first order with my link birchliving.com/farmhouse. You can grab this QR code right here. I will also leave it linked in the description box below. I've had a lot of questions about my back carriers. So this one is by Sakura Bloom, Sakura. I could be saying that wrong. And then the soft structured carrier I wear a lot, that is navy blue. That one is a Kinder pack. I like having two carriers because we use them so very much that if one is in the wash, I definitely need the other. And I love both of the carriers I have for different reasons. Every year I like to make strawberry shortcake at least once. several times if we have access to good fresh strawberries. This year there is a new post over on the blog specifically for whole grain strawberry shortcake. So if you've been wanting to make strawberry shortcake in your own kitchen, but you want to use your freshly milled grains, this is a great recipe for right now while strawberries are in season. I use soft white wheat for mine just because this is a quick recipe. It's not gluten that has to be developed like I would use hard white wheat for. Biscuits like this also turn out really great with ancient forms of wheat. So if you're using einkorn or croissant or spelt, no matter what, this recipe performs very well with 100% whole grain. I will leave it linked below. I am preparing some fabric for a curtain project, actually a couple curtain projects. One I'm going to share today and one I'm going to share in a future video when I get a chance to do that. I'm also bringing back out the water kefir grains for the season. So for the last several years, I have just repurchased water kefir grains for the summer months. Now in years past, I kept them going all year round. It's felt, I don't know why, but a little bit more overwhelming in the last couple years to do that. So then I just get them back for the season that we actually want these cold, bubbly drinks, and that is summer. Now last year I didn't get the best grains, and so it took them a while to really perk up. But this year I found some on Etsy that really started working very, very quickly and doubling. So I'm already up to, since recording this video, making a half gallon at a time. Soon I'll be making a gallon at a time. It's really hard to make enough so that my whole family can have a glass full of water kefir at a meal, but it's really looking like that's going to be the case. I'm going to be able to make so much at once. For those of you who haven't been following along for a while and you're not sure about what water kefir is, essentially it's kind of like, you've probably heard of kombucha, but basically you ferment sugar water with these little, they're called grains, but they're not actually grains. They're a symbiotic colony of good bacteria. So there's a first ferment in sugar water and then a second ferment with grape juice to make it nice and bubbly. It is just so delicious, probiotic rich, good bacteria rich. I have a blog post all about it that I recently updated. So I will leave that linked below if you're curious about how you can do this in your own kitchen. I will tell you that my kids absolutely love it. When they see the soda bottles coming back out, as they like to call them, they all get so excited. Oh, we're having soda again. It's so exciting. Depending on how warm your house is, it can take 48 hours for the process to be completed, or even more if your house is cooler. So that's why I like to make a bunch at one time. I wanted to put a curtain underneath this antique apron back sink that I picked up at an architectural salvage place several months ago while we were building this house. So finally I'm getting to that project. Now the way that I'm going to attach it to the sink is with Velcro. I'm going to actually sew the Velcro on. It's a stick-on Velcro, but I'm going to sew it on so that way I can wash this when needed. Now I did not plan ahead enough and I only had 48 inches of Velcro when I really needed 60 because all the way around the sink was right at 60 inches. We don't just live 5 minutes from Walmart anymore, so I'm going to make my 48 inches work here by spreading it out and putting like 4 or 5 inches in between each segment. Now I thought of a few ways that I would have done this differently if I was doing it again and again, but it totally worked out. Now one thing, if you're gathering a long stretch of fabric, you need to put in several different gathering stitches, because if you break even one gathering stitch thread along the way, you have to redo it all. So I ended up putting in like 4 or 5 different segments of gathering stitches. And then I realized, oh wait, I have to actually attach this to something. So I should have, I don't know, I thought of a different way that I could have done it, but it worked out just fine. So I made a long strip of fabric that was 60 inches long. So that way I could make the gathers line up to 60 inches long to go around my sink. And then I spread out the Velcro. And lastly, I'm just going to go over to the sink and put the other side of the Velcro on the sink to make it stay. Now it's very strong Velcro, and as long as I sew on the pieces that are actually on the fabric, This is very washable, something that will be able to be used for many years to come. I really think it looks so charming on this sink. There's a lot of exciting things happening behind the scenes in our living room. Some upholstery projects, some furniture plans, but for now, I want to hang up these pieces of art. So many of you probably know my friend Sarah Jo from Briarton Farm. Her family and my family get together once every year, sometimes halfway, sometimes we'll go there, sometimes they'll come here. She's an artist and she made me this beautiful watercolor of our new house and barn, and I just think it is stunning and deserves a place in our living room. Another project we are brainstorming on right now is our front porch sidewalk and some gardens around the property. There's a public historic home in the area that we went to check out because I knew they had some great landscaping and we just loved their flagstone path. So we picked up a few samples and we were just trying out some things. We know we want a flagstone path out to the gravel, and then we also will put hydrangeas all along the front of the porch. So we're trying to get enough done, enough prepped, so that by the time it's fall, we are ready to plant quite a few things. Well, I hope you enjoyed coming along and seeing what we are working on this week at our new old farmhouse. If you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for more from scratch recipes and watching us decorate and complete projects in our new home.